Welcome everyone to the School Zone. My name is Carl Grimes. I'm the Vocational and Career Advisor at Okaloosa Technical College. We are located at 1976 Lewis Turner Boulevard. We're here to talk a little bit about our programs today. We're featuring 3 of our programs, and my first guest is Bill Griffith. He is the welding instructor here at Okaloosa Technical College, a great instructor, does a great job, and he worked with Benjamin Wise, who can't be here today, but he wanted to, but he can't. But we got Bill. We have, just to talk a little bit more about our programs at Okaloosa Technical College, we have 11 industry certification programs. We have 6 that are available to high school students that are electives, and they can come over and work on their industry certification as well. But the great thing about these programs is they're a pathway. Another pathway, I know a lot of people want to go to college, want their children to go to college, but this is another pathway that can lead to success and a job. There's plenty of jobs in the industry, and the thing is, a degree in college, it can be a little expensive. It can take some time, 4 years for a college degree. You can rack up a lot of debt, and there's nothing wrong with going to college. We're happy for those of you that do want to go to college, but if you want a successful career and you can't afford something like that, please look into an industry certification, because the market is just wide open. There's lots of jobs out there. They're in high demand. The jobs exist. It takes 1.5 years to get your industry certification, and the possibilities are endless. You can start up your own business, and as hard as you want to work, that's how much money you can make. So enough about that. I want to introduce Bill Griffith. And Bill, thanks for being with us here today.
Absolutely, Carl. I appreciate you inviting me. To go on, elaborate more on what you were talking about, Mike Rowe is a huge advocate for closing the skills gap in America, skilled training versus college.
He has that show, was it Dirty Jobs?
It does. Dirty Jobs. Everybody knows him. The voiceover guy for
wonderful guy
for Deadliest Catch. But he's made several videos put out there for different technical schools, and one of the quotes in one of the videos is, everybody's worried about the corner office, getting into the corner office, but they forgot how to build it. And I don't know about you or anybody else, but I've come accustomed to driving down paved roads, indoor plumbing, house with electricity, those creature comforts that we've become so accustomed to and used to that we don't even think about them anymore. And there's somebody out there that made that possible. There's somebody out there, a plumber, an electrician, a welder, a carpenter, that has made all these things possible. And those guys are starting to get older, and there's nobody to take their place.
Right.
So what's happening is, these companies are looking for individuals with not only a skill set, but some sort of certification.
Take us through a typical day in your program. What
Typical day.
Do? Right.
Bell rings at 7 o'clock. I call roll. We stand, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I start handing out work detail. My class is 5 days a week. The night class is 4 nights a week. They go a little bit longer at night than we do during the day. My adults are in the shop 5 days a week.
Right.
They buy their book. They take their book home. During sporadic times, I try to spring it on them as much as I can without any notice.
Right.
They're due 1 chapter a week in their book, their homework. At any point in time they have any problem with the book work, I gladly sit down with them, help them through it. But I'm a firm believer, especially in welding. All the trades aren't like this, but especially welding. You have to put hood time in. You have to be in that shop.
Meaning the hood.
That's exactly right.
Hands-on experience.
It has to be hands-on.
I'll tell you, I got to experience welding in your class. You were nice enough to let me, and it was for someone like me who knew nothing about welding. it was quite an experience and a tribute to what a good teacher you are. I really felt at ease, and you told me exactly what to do, and it was amazing being in your class just for that little short time. What kind of certification would someone get taking your class? What would they get out of that?
This year we have gone to the AWS certification,
Right.
the American Welding Standard.
Nationally recognized industry standard.
It's worldly recognized.
Worldly recognized.
I'll talk about the curriculum we used last year a little bit. Last year we was using NSEER curriculum, and NSEER pulled their standards from the AWS. And so me and Mr. Weiss thought, well, why don't we just cut out the middleman and just go straight for AWS certification? We teach these standards. We'll go through stick, MIG, and TIG welding.
Right.
They have 22 different positions they have to pass. Okay, then when they get to 3 and 4G position in stick welding, what we do is we'll send those plates off. Once they've passed mine and Mr. Wise's standards, we'll send those plate off to get destructive tested. Wesco does our destructive testing for us over in Pritchard, Alabama. They will come pick up our plates. The student's name, ID number leaves on the plate. They take it to Pritchard, Alabama, and they destructive test it. When it passes, they are AWS certified structural welder. Then from that point, they go into MIG and TIG. When they pass the MIG and TIG portion of it, then we'll take them into pipe. And then we have advanced welding, which gets into some of the exotics. And they call it exotics, but living so close to the beach, we don't think of them as exotics because it's aluminum and stainless, and the high corrosive, the stuff that doesn't rust.
Right.
And because of living right here by the beach, we see it a lot, so we don't think of it as exotics. Not only the AWS certifications, but we take them through oxy-fuel cutting, plasma cutting, obviously grinding. We have an iron worker machine. We have horizontal bandsaws. You name it.
I was at your advisory meeting with some of your vendors, and they mentioned what a welder these days can pretty much write their own ticket.
Pretty much. From one end of the country to the other.
Meaning they can make some good wages.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I've got a student right now, an ex-student right now in New Jersey, making $35 an hour.
Wow.
I've got another ex-student in Pensacola making $30 an hour. Structural welding. There's plenty of pipe welding out there. Right here locally, it's a lot of aluminum, stainless welding. A lot of working on cobia towers for these fishing boats, and so on and so forth. But you can pretty much write your own ticket.
Well, you think about the investment, you're talking a year and a half, and a fraction of the cost of college. It's really,
Absolutely.
You're making a great investment when you
Absolutely.
do something like that and invest in a certification. Well, we'd like to thank you for being here, and please come back again soon.
Absolutely.
We'll have you on. We'll talk a little bit more about your different types of welding. I'm interested in all those different types. There's so many different types, and there's a lot of specialty welding jobs too that I found out about today that I'd like to learn more about.
Carl, I'll gladly come back anytime you want me to come back.
All right, buddy.
But better than that, you can come to my shop and I'll just teach you.
Oh, that sounds good. I'll wear my safety glasses.
Wear your safety glasses.
Well, thanks. We'll be right back. We've got another guest for you, and thanks, Bill Griffith, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. Thank you.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Welcome back. Now we're talking with Royal Preston from our carpentry program here at Okaloosa Technical College. We're glad to have you. Welcome, Royal.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you a few questions. You told me it's hard to follow Bill Griffith, so, but you're a very interesting guest. I'm sure you've got a lot of light to shed on your program. It's a very interesting program and a great asset to our school and to the community in general. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, believe it or not, I was a student here in the late 70s. I came here not because I was thinking about goals or career or ambition. I came here to get out of senior English. Back in the day, they let you do that. So, but what I found was I really enjoyed it. I mean, we were building houses even back then, and I loved it. I loved working with my hands. I loved the satisfaction of, at the end of the day, wow, look what we got done. So I started off here, and my teacher was amazing, Joe Heater. Placed me in my very first job, and believe it or not, I was a lead carpenter. Most people who start in the construction industry start out as laborers and stuff like that, but because of the amazing training that I received here at this school, I started out as a lead carpenter, eventually became a superintendent and a building contractor, went on to build and help build probably over 200 houses and light commercial buildings all over Northwest Florida. And then they called me back in '94. They called me and asked me if I would be interested in teaching, and I've been here ever since. Love it. It's a great opportunity for me to teach people skills, that they can use to better themselves.
Well, it's certainly, we've been talking today about what high demand there are for the jobs, and especially in your certification area. Can you take us through what kind of certification would one of your students
My
get?
students are earning a national certification. It's from the National Center for Construction Education and Research, and they're earning certifications that are used all over the country by the big boys and the heavy hitters in the construction industry, the Kellogg, Brown and Root, or the Haskell corporations of the world. So those guys are earning those national certifications, which is great. But what my students get, I mean, I have students who aren't necessarily going to pursue a career in construction. Or maybe they're not going to do it commercially anyway. Right. So what my students are learning is how to build houses. We've been building these 1,568 square foot houses, mm-hmm. and we build the floors and the walls and the roofs. We do vinyl siding, shingles. We install cabinets and countertops and hang sheetrock, interior trim painting. We start to finish, we're building these houses. But also what it does is, for a lot of people, many of my students have never built anything before at all, anything. They bring zero construction experience with them. So what it does for those guys is it gives them a lot of confidence, where they can, maybe they've never done this before, they've never done that before, but holy smokes, now that they have this experience, they can, they're more willing to tackle projects.
So not only can they earn a career, start their own business, which is fantastic, but they'll have these skills to fall back on around their own house the rest of their life. Whereas, a lot of people don't learn these skills these days. There's a lot of benefits, a lot of perks to your.
Thank you. There was a time where we had a lot of young people would get into the construction industry, but for whatever reason, we've got so few people now. A lot of the young people are pursuing careers outside of construction. So what that's done is it's left a huge void. We have builders all over town. We've got builders all over the state and the country who are very much needing and wanting people to come build for them, but there's just a huge shortage in the construction industry of trained people who are ready to go to work to build.
And the wages, they can be very good.
Absolutely. If we had too many workers and not enough jobs,
Right.
the wages would be low. But we have wages are coming up because there's such a high demand. They're offering signing bonuses now for people. Hey, we need some help, and
Right.
and yeah, so that's great.
So the demand is there.
Absolutely.
Come here. You can spend on the average a year and a half here at Okaloosa Technical College. Relatively inexpensive when we compare to college degree, which can be
Sure.
very expensive. So there's just a lot of great things about this that you can build on a career here. Could you take us through a typical day in your classroom?
Sure. We spend usually on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We spend the first period in the classroom working through our curriculum requirements, and then we spend the rest of the day doing hands-on. We'll start off in the classroom, and I'll explain what needs to be done and how we're going to do it. But then after that, we spend the rest of the day building. Currently we're building a tiny house, and actually I have 5 ladies in my class, which is great. There's a lot of interest. Tiny houses are the latest greatest craze, so we're teaching people. We're building our very first one, which is 388 square feet, and I hope it's the first of many houses. Yeah.
Great. That's very popular these days.
Sure.
I love to watch those shows, and that seems to be gaining a lot of interest. Let's see. I'd like for you to shed some light on the available opportunities maybe in our area.
I have builders that are contacting the school and contacting myself on a regular basis, wanting to hire people. Huge demand. There's builders who are doing new construction, who need new residential construction, who need workers. There's builders who do predominantly remodeling, who need workers. There's commercial construction going on, and a huge shortage of workers for commercial construction. There's just a big need across the board, and it's not just Fort Walton Beach or Okaloosa County. It's statewide and nationwide. There's a huge shortage of people.
Great. Fantastic. What advice would you give to someone looking to get into your program these days?
I would encourage you just to stop by the school. Come see us. Come see what we do. I'd love to show you around one of our completed houses. We have a beautiful house sitting in the parking lot that was built entirely by students. Like I said, most of them have never built anything before, but it's a beautiful house sitting out there. Be happy to show it to you, show you around. And also we have a tiny house under construction. So I would encourage anybody who might be interested in taking this class to come see what we do. We'd love to show you around. And
You've got fantastic equipment. You should see a shop. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, immaculate, keeps it clean. All the people there, all the students there seem very happy. They're always engaged. So it's just a great program. I always feel welcome, and it's fun to go back there and watch what they're doing. And they're doing something different every day.
it is fun. If I had to teach building construction technology and we didn't leave the classroom, that would not appeal to me at all any. But we are putting our hands on stuff. We're making sawdust every day, and we're building and constructing. And if you enjoy working with your hands, if you enjoy doing that kind of stuff, then I'm sure you would enjoy this program, because we try to have a good time every day.
So come in for a tour. Give us a call, 833-3500. And on our website, too, it's otcollege.net if you want to check out our programs further. But call us and come on in. He's always welcome to giving a tour to anyone that's interested. So thank you, Royal. Mr. Preston was a great guest, and we'd like to thank him for coming by today. And we'll pause for a moment and come back with our next guest. Thank you. Welcome back, and we're here to talk to our third guest today, Sarah Myers. She's from our practical nursing program, and we're so happy to have you here today for your valuable program for Okaloosa Technical College. And welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
to
you
have
very
here.
much. Glad to be here.
I tell you, I always enjoy going into your classrooms because they're so interesting. All the students are always engaged, and there's all this fantastic equipment. That's my favorite part. You see the parts of the body and all the equipment that you have to look at that you use to teach. It's just fascinating for me to go in there. I like to see that, and your students always seem so happy and really engaged every time I go in there. But anyway, tell us about your background.
I am a registered nurse. I have a Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Auburn University. I have been a nurse for over 30 years.
Wow.
My background, before I started teaching, most of my experience is in emergency department, and then I started teaching about 11 years ago.
Wow, and that's been a great experience for you in the teaching. You've enjoyed.
I do enjoy it. I found my niche.
You found your niche. Well, let me ask you, what does a student gain by going through your practical nursing program? What does one of your students get out of that?
It's a 14-month program, and it has a lot of the basic skills in nursing, anatomy and physiology, pharmacology, dosages and solutions. They learn the skills necessary to be an entry-level nurse at the LPN level. At the end of the 14 months, if they complete the program, then they can sit for their licensure exam for the NCLEX exam.
Well, can you take us through a typical day in your classroom?
Typical is kind of hard. It is.
Changes
Depends.
every day, huh?
Yeah, it depends on where they are in the program. It depends on the rotation. But typically, we have 2 days a week that are classroom. They start at 7:30 in the morning, and they'll be out of class at about 1 p.m. Then 3 days a week, they are actually in a clinical setting, either at Fort Walton Beach Medical Center, Twin Cities Hospital, maybe the health department, a clinic somewhere in the county, doing clinical type experience, which means hands-on, taking care of patients, working with people in the field to get that experience on how to be a nurse.
And can you tell us a little bit about the job opportunities in our area? I know there's a high demand for nurses now in the nursing field.
Yes, typically they don't have too much issue with finding that first job. Most of our employers in our area, though a lot of our students are military, so they or spouses of military, so some of them don't necessarily stay in our area. But most of the time, the fields that are employed our LPNs the most are like long-term care facilities, clinics, doctors' offices. The prison system uses a lot of LPNs, mental health, home health agencies. So there is a variety of what they could get
and not just Okaloosa, that's just
in general, yes.
In general, in our region.
In general, typically they don't have an issue with finding employment.
That's fantastic. And when you think about the cost in relation to a lot of college degree programs, it's quite a value.
It is. Sure. They can get out as a LPN, a licensed practical nurse, and if they want to continue their education, they can. If they're in this area, we do partner with Northwest Florida State College, and they can do the bridge program from LPN to RN, an associate RN. So there's a lot of avenues if they want to continue on with their education that they can.
Sarah, I had another question. Can you tell us a little bit about the success rate for students in your program?
Yes, our NCLEX examination test, which is what you take to get your LPN license, we typically have a success rate, which is the first time to take the test and pass it, of 90 to 100%.
Fantastic, unbelievable. That's awesome.
Yep.
What would you look for in a typical student that in your classroom? What skills would you want someone to have that's going to enter your program?
Typically, they need to be well organized. They need to have good study skills, things like that. Study skills, because we move very, very fast in 14 months. There's a lot of material they have to learn.
Right.
So study skills, whether it was in high school or maybe they have some college under their belt, but making sure they have those good skills, that they're responsible, they can keep themselves organized. A lot of it is independent. They have to be certain places at certain times. They have to be on time. They have to know how to present themselves in a professional manner. All those things are part of it that makes a good student.
And a good employee. Those
And
are
a good
great-
employee.
yeah,
That's
great
what we
things
want. Good
and you could
employees.
say that about just about any program. Fantastic. Well, someone interested in your program, what advice would you give them? Would you be open for them to come by, or?
Sure, they can come by. There's an information packet in the front office. If they want to come see the department, usually someone in the front office will bring them over. Typically, the process for us is a little bit different than maybe some of the other programs. All you have to do, though, initially to qualify is have your high school diploma or GED.
Okay.
There are no prerequisites other than that. We do have a pre-entrance test. Once they fill out the application, we test every 6 months. We have a day program and an evening program. If somebody particularly wanted evenings Monday through Thursday, they now have that option as well. But they take the pre-entrance test. The top 35 to 40 candidates off of that test will get an interview with the faculty, and then we'll select the class of 24 out of that. So there is a process. So they need to study that National League of Nursing pre-entrance test and be ready, because that's really the key to getting in.
Right. That's all great advice. And typically your program takes how long to?
14 months for the day program. The evening program is slightly longer.
A little longer.
It's a little bit longer, about 15 months.
Well, that's great information. I know a lot of people can't wait to come by and see you and come by and get information about your program. And they're more than welcome to. We're located at 1976 Lewis Turner Boulevard, right across from the Fort Walton Beach Golf Course, next to the fairgrounds. Our phone number, 850-833-3500. And come by. Our great instructors like Ms. Myers are more than willing to give you a tour, let you see what goes on in their classroom. And we'd love to have you come by and look at any of our programs. So thanks for watching today, and come by and see us. Remember, our otcollege.net is our website address if you want to find out more information there. And thank you for watching.